Start.
Good morning to one and all present here. Today, I take a privilege to welcome you all to the 11th lecture in the row, that is Recipe for Maintenance and Management of Scientific Journals and Editors Pick. Our speaker, a renowned speaker for the day is Dr. Smita, who is a well-known celebrity in this field. But before we begin this, I would take a moment to um, celebrate 5th September today because we are here because of our teachers. They are the one because of whom we are sitting here confident enough to host a show and confident enough to address a crowd of more than 100 people. So teacher is a person who shapes the future of a student, just like a potter gives the shape to a clay. To introduce our speaker, she doesn't need a introduction as such, but she's a BDS, MDS in oral path and a PhD. And she has done her PG diploma in forensic anthropology and odontology. She's a professor in the Department of Oral Path, Voklegara Sangha Dental College and Hospitals, the Bangalore, and other position that she holds is she's the editor-in-chief, Journal of Oral and Maxillofacial Pathology, India. She has a very long clinical and teaching experience, starting from being a professor to in the Department of Oral Path, and she has a lot of research projects guided or assisted, and she has undergone advanced training program in multiple fields. That is, she's a certified biostatistic course from CMC Vellore, advanced training program in molecular biology from Genobiotics Asia, Delhi, and many more. Actually, if I start, it won't be ending soon. And she has approximately 60 to 63 papers in her publications list, and more than that, she's presented around 15 papers. She has attended multiple conferences, CDs, workshops, and advanced training programs. She has been invited as a speaker at various renowned forums. Ma'am, the field is all yours, and I please welcome you on behalf of all of us. Kindly start with the show.
Thank you for such a warm introduction, and I'm extremely pleased for your team for giving me this opportunity. And I personally thank Dr. Aman and Dr. Priyanka who were in touch. And I was not very familiar with your this, but seeing your field now, I think we also should start something like this. Uh, I'm very glad. Ma'am, can I share my screen now?
Ma'am, please go. Please go ahead.
Yes. You have disabled my.
No, it's able now. It's working now.
Okay. One second. Just hold on 1 second.
No problem, ma'am. Just click on the PowerPoint.
Yes, yes.
Down there is a PowerPoint window. You can click on it.
हाँ तो उसको इंट्रालीजनल का भी तो पे करना है दीदी.
I think you are able to see, right? screen?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to see.
Hello?
Ma'am, we are able
Yes,
to see.
yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yes, we are able to see.
Anyone coming or they're not able to?
It's working, ma'am. It's
No,
working.
we are able to see.
We are able to see, ma'am.
We can see your presentation.
Okay.
Please go ahead, ma'am. We can see you. Just unmute yourself.
No?
Yes, Dr. Smitha. We can see your
Are
presentation.
you able to see the
Yes.
screen?
Yes, yes. We are able to see you as well as the presentation. No problem. You can go ahead.
Can I start?
Yes, yes,
Sorry
please.
for the little inconvenience.
No problem.
So as this goes, I'll just straight away start off with my bit. So
Ma'am,
mentioning the journal.
can you be a little loud? Ma'am?
So why we should publish? So if it is in the modern era, if it is
Ma'am, you need to be a little loud, ma'am. Ma'am, we can't hear you.
by H. Miller, which was given in 1993. So if you're doing any research,
Dr. Smitha?
to be recognized, you have to publish. Publishing is one of the main necessary steps embedded in the scientific research. It's also necessary for graduation and career progression. So in this context, what has to be published and what should be published? Hello? Hello? Okay. So what to publish, and that is in the new and original results or methods if you have achieved in your research work that needs to be recognized, and reviews or summaries of any particular subjects. For example, now it is the COVID pandemic is on. So in that context, a qualified person who has done work in that field, if he can review and do a meta-analysis or summarize the facts, then that will be interesting to the scientific people. And manuscripts with advanced knowledge and understanding in a certain scientific field, that thing can be published. So you need to have a very good manuscript to present to your, and it has to be contributed to the scientific community. So what not to publish is again same reports of no scientific knowledge or interest, out of date work. You always need to be updated with the current scientific knowledge. And duplication or plagiarism of previously done work is highly inappropriate. That should never be in your ethics to publish also. And incorrect or unacceptable. There is certain guidelines which are there, and that has to be followed. So we in that aspect, if we are doing anything of this hypothesis has to be a good one, and that proper this has to be carried and it has to be published. So now coming to what's a journal? It's nothing but a collection of articles. It can be original research, reviews, or reports. So in that manner, it's a scholarly publication which contains articles written by scholars and other experts. So journals mainly focus on a specific discipline or field of study. So for example, it can be in the engineering field or it can be on artificial intelligence, and in particularly in our field, it is dentistry. And then we go into subspecialties, and in that subspecialties also we have a lot of variations on a particular discipline, which includes oral oncology or periodontology. That itself contributes for the subject. So why we need journals? Journals are the platforms to share scientific content, research data in the form of articles, in the form of editorials, reports, and many more. Sub-classifications are there. For example, emerging hot topics, or it can be, sharing the platform. So now, if you are aware, all the journals of from Nature to Lancet, everything is accessible because all the researchers are working very hard to come up with a solution for this COVID and how to manage individual places. It has become a global crisis. So journals is a best platform to share the knowledge. It's a forum to share and discuss the scientific and non-scientific information. And to view the scientific advancement, everything happening in and around the world, we need to have journals. Journals are the key indicators of growth of healthcare industries. So in olden days, journals were managed through print version. Now the trend has been towards online version plus print version. So I don't know whether we need the print version in future. Strongly speaking, I'm totally averse to that. But as is now, still this hardbound copies are maintained throughout the world, and that is the standard. Now, with the support of online peer review platforms, management of journals have become very easy, and there is increasing authenticity to the journals also, because media has helped us a lot in this. Previously, there were a lot of difficulties in communicating with the reviewers itself. Now, that's why you can, if you see, there are lots of mushrooming of the journals, online versions and all. So there are e-magazine platforms and all. So for the journals, there are certain standards. So I'll be enumerating about that in the next few slides. The main key players which are involved in maintaining the journal are the authors, the editorial staff, which includes the administrator, editor, production editor, and the IT staff, and most of all, the reviewers. So the workflow for a journal peer review includes the author, the editorial staff, then you have to register first for the author, then you need to do the article submission. Then there will be a preliminary review, that is the scope for that particular article, and cross-check it to check all the checklists and also the language. In this initial, if it doesn't pass, then straight away it gets rejected, or it can proceed further. Then it next goes to the editorial decision. So the editor, usually the chief editor will have a team, core team, where it includes her or his internal editorial people. So where the decision will be taken based on the weightage of the article. And nowadays, the first thing we do is check for plagiarism. So then it will be sent to the reviewers, and then the revised document again will be sent to the editorial, and again it comes to the, based on the revised review or the editorial team can take a decision to accept or reject. If accepted, then it goes for editing and layout processing. Then there will be a checking of the final draft. This is a very tedious process. It takes months together to get it done. And then finally it goes online publication, as well as it can be printed. So the peer review tools is a thing which is internationally, we have the editorial manager, then we have something called as Scholar One, the EJ manager, and Scholarlista. At the national level, manuscript communicator tool is there, and that they have this system MP which manages them. So starting for the journal, what are the financial prerequisites are? First, you need to have quarterly journal with 20 articles per issue. That are the initial norms. Then it needs to have a international serial indexing number, and there should be a website design and development. For that, you need to at least invest 50,000, which is a one-time investment. Then you can, for the journal website hosting, which is very important, server maintenance, emails to the journal members, data, and indexing services, it requires minimum of 1K, 1 lakh per year. And the peer review tool, which I just enumerated, comes to around 1.5 lakhs. And the article production services, that is minimum. This charges are there. It is around 2 lakhs, and it goes from each publishing people. This is the minimum thing which I'm telling. And publishing online, it is 50,000 per year, and print on demand. Most of the starters, they don't print. If there is a request, then they have to be giving that option also. So financial sustainability. So to ensure the financial sustainability, you need to have adequate funding. So for long time publications and to maintain the journals. Many a times I've seen new journals will pop up, and then it goes off because of this main funding issue. The sources of funding could be through donations or grants from the universities, trusts, or governments, and nowadays universities as well as colleges are all over there. So you need to look out for them. And the subscription generation, or you can have your societies also, like your groups or societies. Those are the main sources for the funding. Subscription generation takes time, and even if it does not fetch much funding, it is important for the stability and growth of the journal. So, for example, a good index journal will be subscribed in the education centers, in the colleges, and also in the medical field. It can be from the drug companies, and also into people who are into research and producing vaccines. So, however, important source of income is the advertisements. This advertisements, you should be very careful. It should not be more of advertisements, and there are certain ethics which have to be followed, and that is the editor and the team will be mainly responsible what to advertise or not. But definitely it is it helps in the growth of the journal, because financial sustainability is very important. So the open access model will generate money immediately, as publishing author will pay for the article in the open access in the form of article processing fee. So now coming to the recruitment of the editorial board. A standard journal will have 50 regional members, as well as remaining 50% from the international board, and that is the norms actually. And based on the subject speciality, the editor-in-chief, editor, associate numbers, editor numbers will be changing. It depends from individual journal. There will be again a production management team. This is very important. The production editor will be there, a copy editor will be there, proofreader will be there, and typesetting department. So a minimum core group is these people. They are the must. And some journals will also have journal indexing management team. Of course, in a bigger platform like Oldsclover or Mednow, you have all this indexing team. They'll be maintaining multiple journals from across the world, so they need to have such indexing management. I'll come to what is this indexing management team in the future slide. And of course, you need a very good IT team, not only for the smooth running of the journals, but also to collect the data like who are the readers, what is the percentage of clicks which has got for that particular article, and to improve the standards. That feedback is again sent to the team, and that again will be reported to the higher ups and the management, whoever is maintaining the journal. The article production and online publishing team, first copy editing and typesetting of each accepted articles are there, and the representation of the table figures as per the journal style is very important. So normally the terms and conditions of a particular journal will be given in the website or in the main starting sheets of the journal. And generation of a digital object identifier, DOI. This is very important for each article is there, and editorial, and also for the conference abstract. And online publishing of each accepted article before the print version. For that, usually first there'll be online for this. Later, it will be sent for the print version. And it takes a minimum of 15 days from online publishing to the print version. And each issue will be present with the scientific cover page. So metric updates of each published articles in the journal, such as number views and citations, as I already told, will be maintained by them. So now coming to the distribution, digitalization, and e-marketing team. E-marketing is something where the new publications in the journal and news will be circulated in the community by emails, RSS feed, that is a service provider, that is rapid service. First it was called RDS, now it is called RSS, and also through announcements. Now you have lots of more through the social media where you can you do the marketing. Indexing, you will need to have a journal ISSN number, that is international serial number, and DOI, that is digital object identifiers for each issue article to increase the findability. If you do, say PubMed is a search engine. If it is PubMed index, means that if you just type on the date of indexing, that particular access you will get. Metrics and analytics, that is the expert team will support. As example, in our cases, our expert team supports the to improve the journal rankings, downloads, altimetrics, which is essential to get a better indexing and impact factor, which I will brief you later. And most of the times, if it is print on demand, that is also a service which is provided for the global distribution, and we also make sure that it reaches them. So index journals. So what exactly is indexing? Indexing is the deposition of published scientific data into a recognized database. So indexation of a journal is considered a reflection of its quality. So if you are into indexing, that itself shows how much of scientific quality is there in that particular journal. And indexing a journal is a technical process which gives authenticity for the journal. So everything which is published should be authentic. So for that, indexing helps. You would have come across lots of magazines. So there is not much of authenticity. So any blogs or anything, anybody can write, and even a practitioner can write, but it may not be evidence-based. So indexing is very essential because that is mainly gives the authenticity for the work. So there are several indexation service providers, which includes Medline, PubMed, PMC. I would like to clarify here, PubMed is just a indexing, it's an engine, search engine. So now, according to our DCI rules, we usually go by Medline indexed or PubMed Central indexed. And many institutions will, like MCI mainly makes it mandatory that it has to be indexed in Medline. So there are many other indexing agencies like Embase, Scopus, and European-based publishing electron database, and DOAJ, Web of Science, and others. These are few of the examples which I've just shown you. Why is that indexing is very essential? Indexing will help your journal. Its main purpose is to be accessible to the audience. Being accessible will turn improve your journal's reputation, which is acts as a reliable source of high quality information in that particular field. The database research is the first activity researchers undertake as part of the study to look establish known facts. So that indexing will help you to increase the journal's readership. Once a journal is indexed by a database, it is immediately made available to all the users through the database. So the database index titles, some index full articles will be available, while some others index only the abstract and references. It depends on the particular management, how they go about it. So, and also, if you are starting, you have to choose a proper right database. So for just told you PubMed. In our particular we have made efforts. Our seniors have made efforts, and they have got it PubMed Central Index. And the PubMed is a search engine. That is one of the data engine which is used globally. And it's very important to understand the features which are provided by the particular database. Some databases only index abstracts, well, other databases even index the entire manuscript and keywords. And some others only include citations in their indexing system. So depending on the budget and this, you have to choose the right database, and you should know what is there, what are the services provided by that database. So some general criteria that databases use to evaluate a journal's suitability for indexing are quality of the content published, publishing timeliness, that is, you need to be extremely punctual in maintaining the timeliness, and the journal workflow, that is how some due to budget constraints or due to lack of coordination between the researchers and the editorial team, there will be no proper workflow between the editorial team and the maintenance of the people and the viewers, as well as the reviewers. In such cases, the journal will get stuck. So people who like PubMed people also, they look into all this criteria. Then when it gets indexed, a journal has to submit a formal application to the database, providing relevant documents and evidence supporting its application. So they also make sure whether it is author friendly and whether there are smooth and timely peer reviews done, and whether it is easily accessible. If the application is processed, then the journal is worthy of being indexed or not, they will check for that. So prerequisites for indexing journals. First and foremost, you need to have a journal title. It has to be spelled completely to match the title registration of all official publication identifiers. That is for the ISSN example, that is the indexing number, international indexing number. And website URL also, you must have a journal website to be included in the index database. And I told you the journal ISSN number, print and as well as online, either can be there. And the publisher, this is the organization that officially publishes the journal, whether it is a learned society or academic, whether it's non-profitable, all these things have to be known. And name and email address of the main person for the journal. Usually the editor will be the main person, and contracts will be signed through the editor as well as the uh, the indexing people, and that contract will be renewed very often. So the country where the journal's publisher is based, that because that is a person who mainly carries the entire productivity publishing activity. So the journal has article processing charges. Of course, this is they will ask because it should be led in the proper sense. You can't overcharge any reviewer or article publisher publishing in that particular this, but it all depends on the indexing people also. So there will be URL to the page where the APCs, that is article processing charge information, everything should be transparent in order to maintain the good index journal. And it will be, if the viewer opens it, it should be visible. All this will be in the main page of the website or in the journal itself. The number of research and review articles that the journal published in the last few years should also be taken into account. And the digital archiving policy of the journal users, that is, example, a national library in our case is used. The article identifiers the journal uses, that is DOI, as I told you, should also be clear. All this will be taken into consideration whenever it has to be indexed in a very reputed indexing base like Medline or in your PMC or PubMed Index. So whether the journal will provide or intends to provide article, that is level metadata to the databases, it is completely surrendered to them. And whether the journal provides individual article downloads, tags, this is also we have to provide, and all this will be maintained by the management team. So all this, there will be, we have to produce it in full detail this to get it indexed. And the first calendar in which a complete volume of the journal's articles will be online, or full text abstract should be submitted. And the full text articles should be available in the form of PDF or HTML. And because many IDA and, for example, branches also have started, and also particular dentist forums also have started, medical forums have started, even the pharmaceutical companies also start. So, but to get it indexed in a very standard journal, you need to put in a lot of hard work, and it has to be extremely transparent. Now, this journal copyright, this is very important. Journal should be under society, institute, university, or through the publisher. The entire ownership belongs to the journal founders or the university. The editorial team will have complete authority on the journal development decisions. So mainly there will be the founders or the core teams or through the society or so. So they are the responsible holders for that. Based on the models of the journals, journal can create their own commons. It can be by the main public domain can be involved, or it cannot be involved. So the link is provided there. You can just check if you want to see more on that. And the journal should have a user-friendly website. So this is very important. The viewers will also be getting technically advanced, and you need to have a easier way wherein the homepage can be accessible, the links to the journal can be seen, aims and scopes, author guidelines, everything should be easily accessible for the viewer or for the authors to put in. And also the brief information about the journal, everything should be crisp and neat, and it has to be provided. The current issue articles, the journal address, and the journal articles submitted as on that date has to be clearly given. So if, for example, if an author submits in that particular journal, a manuscript number will be generated, for an example, in our journals. So that itself indicates to the authors that how many articles have been submitted in that particular year, starting from usually the term will, this will be years from Jan to December in most of the journals. So whether it's biannual or quarterly, or whether there are any supplementary issues, everything should be provided. And the detailed journal web page should be having detailed information that should also catch the audience also. Information on article submissions with submission buttons, everything should be correct. Maintenance of the journal is quite expensive. You need to have the right kind of people to help you out with that. And if you are interested, there are courses also which you can attend, and you also can maintain the web pages. So detailed archive, current issue, and press details also has to be provided. Now coming to the reviewer. The reviewer database should be very good for the journal. So as in, if you are choosing dentistry, then you should have the reviewer database from, I told you before also, 50% from the national and 50% from the international will serve the good maintaining of a journal. And from all specialities and super specialities, you need to have the reviewers. So all this will add to the weightage of the journal. Each time when a reviewer does the review process, they should be recognized by giving them a certificate in the peer review tool itself. So automatically, this has to be sent. For example, in ours, once in 2 years, we generally acknowledge the reviewers. In some journals, they even provide a monetary benefits for reviewing the particular article or a journal. But most of the time, it is out of scientific communities will not accept that. They, they just, it's a honorary work, and they'll be willingly doing that out of their own willingness. And so you need to have a good relation with all the PR should be very good to maintain the reviewers database. In the peer review process, there are too many problems. I'll just enumerate few of it. The submission of the papers which are clearly out of scope will be sometimes will be included. Failure to format the paper according to the guidelines, that is also there. And inappropriate or suggestions which are given, suggested reviewers, they will be not knowing the article's content itself, and if they are given, then it will become too many errors. And most everywhere they maintain English has this in the journals internationally. So foreign language persons will have inadequate English, and most of the time we come across this, and the editorial team itself makes sure that it is communicated to the authors, and we will not go into the further processing and put the reviewer into much more the editorial team manages in such a way wherein the reviewers should not be pressurized, or they should not be put into trouble because it's a very time consuming process. So a very efficient team should be there to make sure only good quality articles are further processed for the peer review. So the editor will make sure that who is potential to review that particular article. So the editor should be capable of handling such things. And from the database, it's very easy to find the subject specific, and everything will be maintained there. For example, if it is related to genetics, if it is related to forensics, if it is related to molecular biology. So mainly when the editor and his team sits, they add in uh, these reviewers, and they make sure uh, in our case we have a internal editor reviewers, so that it is not reflected for the authors. It is like, it just shows that it is in the editorial board. Why it takes so much time is the internal reviewer also will be reviewing so many articles, but it will just come as it is there in the editorial review. Only if it passes through the editorial team, then only we put the article for peer review. So, and most of the times, yes, a minimum of 5 potential reviewers will be selected for one particular article. So whoever wishes to access review it, that communication straightly comes to the editor and his team or her team, and they will know that the reviewer is reviewing, and usually it will be a time frame of 15 days will be given, and repeated reminders also will be sent to the reviewer politely to remind them and to review the article. So it is this is just a cartoon which shows where everybody are behind axing the article itself, but it is not so. I'm just telling how much it has been streamlined now, and the peer review process in a standard this will they give the this within a gap of some takes minimum of 15 days, some might take up to 3 months depending on the workload. So the submission is not a block hole. The author starts with submitting a paper, and if it passes, the editor has to do the chunk of the work. The review only gives the recommendations. Everything has to be collected from the reviewers, and again, the editor has to make a decision whether it is advisable for the authors to do the corrections, or whether it can be accepted, and whether it can be published. So in that time frame, the editorial team will make that decision, and finally the editor will take a call and send it for revision, or it might be rejected. So why you need to have an initial editorial review? Because I told you peer review is grossly overloaded, and the editors wish to use the reviews only to review those papers with good probability of acceptance. And it's a service, as I told you, for the reviewers to spend time where the work and evidence is lacking in that particular article or so. So the checklist will be given for that particular journal. So what is the main things which are which we look for in the early rejections are aim and scope of that particular article, whether the paper is of limited interest or covers the local issues, or sample type. Sample type for our original research is very important. And the geography from where it is coming up, and specific products. Like now in this COVID time, we are also encouraging more and more articles on the COVID related things. So it can be their experiences, or minimum of cases which they would have encountered, and all such things will be taken into consideration. And they should have papers should have incremental advance, or whether it is limited in scope. That novelty and significance has to be looked for. And what you as an editor or the team should check is work of interest is internationally, it's targeting the audience. Does the word add any significance to the already published work, or is the perspective consistent enough, and whether right conclusions are drawn from that particular article. That is major importance. And whether will it add to the scientific knowledge. So some of the few other reasons are failure to meet the submission requirements. That is, the guidelines will be set for the journal, and if it is failure, then incomplete English and unacceptability of poor English will all be taken into consideration and rejected outrightly. So sometimes the guidelines wouldn't have been read by the authors, so we give them, if the articles have good content, then we usually look in and whether there are too many self citations in that particular article, that also has to be taken care. This is very, very important, because self citations is not of credibility, and if it is cited, if they are citing from their own research work where in which it is published, all that will matter. So reviewing is a procedure where, considering reviewing, there are several peers discuss the work. So from them, there will be nearly every manuscript requires revision. Definitely, 2-3 reviewers would have given their comments, and all that will be sent to the authors. And here, nowadays, corresponding author, you have to make sure the corresponding author does all the work, and does our communication only goes to them. And for future also, like if a particular author or a viewer is accessing from globally, then they can communicate to the corresponding author. Now, in ours, actually, in our journals, the first author used to have a lot of weightage and the corresponding author. But now MCI has made it mandatory that the corresponding author solely bears the responsibility. And now all international journals now are compiling only with that the corresponding author has a great role to play. So if there's minor revisions, does not guarantee that acceptance after revision will be there, because it happens so, like materials and methods and all. If the reviewer has question, and if you are not satisfied with the method which is followed, then also it can be rejected. And most of the times we tend to give the reviewers comments to the authors if it is technically whether the work can be improved and why that particular article was not accepted in that journal. And if the editor rejects it in the first few days without being reviewed, then there won't be any comments given, because it is self-explanatory that doesn't come in the scope of their journal. And the revision after submission is mainly they have to carefully study the comments and prepare a detailed letter of response. So usually we expect the comments in one section given by the reviewer and the answers to that in the next section. So that is formatted in our standard journals, and it becomes an easy thing for the editor to check and whether that can be further processed or not. Now, why is this impact factor essential for a journal? Of late, citations also is taking the more weightage. So what is an impact factor? The average annual number of citations per article published, that constitutes the impact factor. For example, 2008 impact factor, if it has to be calculated, then you look for the number of times the article was published in 2006 and 7, where it was cited in index journals during 2008. B is number of citable items. So for 2008, the impact factor will be A by B. If there are 600 citations, then you need to calculate dividing that, and it gives the impact factor of 2. As such, our impact factor has not, Indian impact factor journals have not high impact factors like the Lancet or the Nature, where the credibility is very, very high. So their impact factor is very high. And so how do journals improve the impact factor is they have to make sure they publish quality over quantity. Even if you publish 10 original research articles, and if that is read and cited by other people, that will help you in improving the impact factor. And it also creates belief in authors that impact factor will rise. So you have to make sure, the editorial board has to make sure that it is coming from a good publishing team and the prestigious publisher to improve the impact factor. And I think all of you will be knowing this. So also always check, know that the journal doesn't have impact factor means then the authors will, editorial board or the publisher should encourage and tell that, we will get it done, and we will, if you publish their work, that is mainly marketing is important to increase the credibility for the journal. And a good editorial board with the editor plays a major role for improving the impact factor. So the authors also have to, be very easy. You should give them a user-friendly way of submitting the articles, and the editorial process should have good reviewers in their list, and their articles should be easier to find, as I told you. Then most of that it depends on this, but you should have a liberal copyright policy, and articles should be free and open access. Now, coming to this copyright infringement, this is one of the major problems in right now we are finding in our scenario. So the editors usually go by the copyright policy, and all the main contributors and the significantly contributed this their work has to be clearly given by the authors in their publishing work. And you should also find a niche such as, like, significant mentions. It can be like just we are instead of standardly openly telling that ours is fourth ranked or this, you can just put it like, in a refined way, that your article journal is in a good standard. And I think in your team also you can come up with a very good journal because you have got all active and very profound members. So how are impact factors used? To select excellent candidates for positions such as PhD student or postdoc, they will look for in which journal that was published, and for recipients of grants to promote the professors, all, and so on. To select speakers for scientific forums, they will look for mainly the articles which were published in a good impact journal. Now we currently have H index in ours. This measures the impact of a particular scientist rather than a journal. So if you H index is defined as the highest number of publication of a scientist that receive H or more citations each, while other publications may not have H index. Yes, if you have any doubts, you can ask me later. And for example, I have completely stopped review articles, and I call for an invited review by a good scientist to give us quality to be published in the journal. So through that we maintain the H index. The H index is a metric for evaluating the cumulative impact of an author's scholarly performance, and it measures quantity with quality by comparing publications to the citations. So if a prominent personality writes for your journal, international one will be better, then the H index will automatically increase for the particular journal. So resource to find the H index is mainly the Google Scholar they use. So Publish or Perish is one more software program. Scopus is there, and Web of Science, which allows it for generation of the H index. So scientific journals are the mediums to share the scientific knowledge and give readers an update of the current scenario in the scientific endeavor. Maintaining scientific journals requires support from the authors, reviewers, editors, administrators, and IT members. This is just what I'm summarizing. Technical material is required. Technical materials teams, in fact, are required, and you need to have a well-established editorial board members, a secured journal website, and with potential design and user-friendly interference, which should be there. Interface is something, currently our journal is also got upgraded. The web page has become more user-friendly and attractive. And we have a peer reviewer platform to where it can be easily handled, and the review process should be very convenient and fast. And the article production department, that is whether it is the PDF or HTML, all this comes into play. And depositing the published articles in the indexing database. So that it has to be uniformly done, and it should be a continuous process. Soon after it has been published, it has to next step is to go into the database. So the visibility to the global audience is very, very important. So for that you need to put it into the database. That is, in our case, it is PubMed index. So it is PubMed index, PMC index, but PubMed is a search engine through which it can be searched. Print support should be there on request, even if you're maintaining an online this. So all this takes into things. Hope I just informed and give you all the relevant materials. Thank you for providing me this opportunity, and namaste. I'm open for questions.
Dr. Smitha, you need to stop the screen share so that we can proceed. We can proceed with the question answers thing.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We have had a very informative, because many of the association people are there who want to start their own journals, as well as they want to really maintain standards of their own journals, and they want indexing also. So I think it is a very, very informative thing which you have shared with us. Now I will pass over the screen to Dr. Priyanka so that she can put on the questions which have been put up through various modes to her.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Priyanka, please proceed.
Thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful, wonderful lecture. And I think we are all enlightened by it. We've been, I think, trying ourselves. So, and you so kindly mentioned that we should make this effort of starting our own journal.
Yes, because we are so proactive. And I felt, after actually, when I checked into your group, then I really felt, and I got a lot of messages from pedodontists, orthodontists, and all that, that you are presenting, and where we will be liking to, know. And even my IDA colleagues from across India as well as internationally also, they also wanted to start the journals. So they were in constant touch. So I've told that I'll be sharing this presentation with them.
So this was excellent, actually. And I think this is not a very routine topic that anybody takes.
Yes,
so I think you were the best person for us to, request you.
Because as a reviewer, I've been associated with the journal. Aman knows that. I think from past 10 years. Yes, but after becoming the editor, I was in direct contact with the production people, and I visited their office also in Mumbai. So I have understood how it works, basically.
Yeah, that's more important, actually.
Yes.
Ma'am, there have been a lot of questions, actually, for you.
Okay, Priyanka.
And I think you are really going to take some time answering them. Because basically we started with the questions on predatory journals. As we open our mails every time, we get 3 or 4 mails every day. regarding, publish in this, publish in that. So Dr. Aman and Dr. Edward Faisal, they have asked a question about predatory journals. What are the drawbacks of publishing in them, and how do we identify actually these predatory journals?
Predatory journals definitely, if they're if they're marketing for themselves, then you need to go and check in Google yourself and check whether they have. I told you impact factor. None of our Indian journals have, but you should look for the
Indexing,
ISSN number, yes, and main platforms like Scopus, or whether it is tagged with the European this. PubMed, definitely not everybody will be having that kind of indexing, but at least look for certain this, and H-index, as I told you, whether any particular article in their which is published in their journal has been cited. That is very important for a new researcher to publish in that particular journal, because authors find themselves very difficult to publish in a good this, right? Because some will be having a very small study, which the pilot study, due to lack of sample size, it will be not accepted in a very good journal. So in predatory journals, at least they should look for whether any article has been cited in their journal.
Okay. And moreover, ma'am, they take their names also very similar to the major journals. So it's very difficult. It's confusing at times. So you're very right. We should go and check their H-index. And
Yes.
is the H-index that important when we go for some people have asked that when we go for interviews and all, like for assistant professors, some people are going. So they are asking that H-index, is that important for the selection criteria?
See, actually, that is self-explanatory. H-index, as I told you, it is for the author itself. So if he has published and if his article is cited, so then you can always clear that. And the knowledge has to be there even for the people who are taking that interview.
Yeah,
so
that's also important.
That is, I think, if you are preparing a CV, in that itself, you should self-explain them. Rather when, or if you are applying for promotion also, just quote that thing that will make a lot of impact.
So Dr. Jijan has asked this question. I think he has got his answer. So Dr. Daya, she's a very senior member in this group, and she's asked that is Index Copernicus, where does it stand in quality? Because since you've talked about so many indexing systems, where does Index Copernicus?
That's one of the basic indexing levels. I told you that, see, I told you abstracts can be indexed, or the whole article can be indexed, or even the keywords can be indexed, right? If an international person has to access your journal, then they may not, I told you, if you just put a COVID or some keyword, you will get a lot of articles. So Index Copernicus will not cater to all that. It will be only either your author tag will be tagged, or your particular title will be tagged.
Okay.
So your viewership is will be limited,
restricted. Okay.
Did you get my point?
Yes, absolutely. And so you, since PubMed is not we cannot expect that every journal is PubMed indexed.
Yes.
Which are the other indexing systems you feel?
Yes, the ones which I mentioned are all good, which is there in my slide. No, the basic indexing.
You mentioned EXPO, you mentioned Scopus, you mentioned DOAJ, you mentioned Web of Science. So do we have to apply
in the hierarchy? I have mentioned that, and the least you can be is at least go for the Scopus.
Okay, least is Scopus indexing. We should go for that. Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay. And ma'am, are there any specific numbers of associate editors or reviewers that we should have if we think of starting our own journal?
The editorial board has, I told you, 50% should be the reviewers should be 50% national and others.
But there's no specific number.
On the there's no specific numbers as such, but a minimum of active 200 members reviewers should be there. Editorial board should be essentially a very qualified people who has recognized um, this. And in the editorial team also, you should have somebody who is a senior person who has done who is into editorial this. Like for example, we have an executive editor who is already well versed with this kind of work. When I was taking over also, we as an association, we are having a good team. So we usually have advisors. You need to have a good advisors who are profound and have done a lot of research and who can guide you. It may not be only related to the publishing or anything. It has to be from all sorts, and you need to have a very good financier who will support that. And for that, I specifically feel you should have a good one-to-one contact with the publishing house person also. So they do it for very minimal priced also, maintaining good standards. For example, people who have worked in Mednow, they've all branched out and started their own publication houses. They keep, in touch with us. And best thing is, if you want to start off, you need to catch hold of editors who have worked profoundly in that field. For example, my guide is my mentor is one of the mentors is Dr. Shivpad Sundaram. He has been profoundly helping me whenever I'm in trouble. I talk to sir and take his help. And definitely there is one person, Dr. Ruben, and he's been exceptionally good. He is handling so many things, and he knows in and out. And I think Aman will be knowing about him, so you can
Yes.
keep in touch. And definitely our mentors, like advisors, are Dr. Paul, Dr. Rangnathan, and all. They're extremely good. So whenever I need to improve anything, I definitely seek their advice.
So, do the experience of reviewers also matter when you make a selection of the reviewers, the years of experience in
See,
their
I
branch?
feel, years of experience. See, I never put to the professors conveniently who are active, and we come to know about it because this will be getting mailed. So if they are not active, then there is no point in maintaining that this, right. And every reviewer, the article will be reviewed in a profound way. So original work, you need to concentrate mainly on the materials and methods. So the editor and the team should be really efficient in identifying that potential this. Seniority will not matter now because all youngsters are doing more quality work. So if that particular person's article is published, this will be very helpful. And definitely you can encourage all the juniors to send their CVs. And you should
Because they'll be more
scrutinize.
prompt, probably. They'll be more prompt in replying also. And
Yes, and
the
they are
voluntary
very
position. So,
active and very yes.
yeah,
If I show you my inbox every 2 days, I'll be getting a new person's this. So I give chance to those people.
that's
Uh,
excellent, actually, ma'am.
yes,
Because they are the ones
and that
actually who are new and who know the
yes,
decent stuff. And I think they're
yes,
the
definitely.
And the
best.
And they are
problem,
tech savvy. And now
ma'am,
if you
Tech
just see
ma'am,
the
the problem of the article being kept and being reviewed for months is actually solved by giving chance to such people who are really
new
into
ones. Yeah.
in
yes,
in putting up this. Yeah.
yes. If you see my editorial team only, you would not see a single person who is older to me.
So we are not talking about age here. That's a wrong.
No, not like that. Enthusiastic crowd should be. I mean,
Yeah,
people should be
that's there.
there.
Absolutely,
Who are
absolutely.
in,
How do you
interest
how
in
do you
that.
tackle, ma'am? How do you tackle the ghost authors? Because I think these days that's also a major problem. Plagiarism
See,
and
I'm
ghost
very
authorship.
transparent,
Yeah.
and I answer each and everybody's mail, as well as, yeah, I even entertain calls also. So if they are having ghost authors, I outrightly I can identify. I mean, if they're open, students are. I mean, right? So many this, and now some people will tell, it is the property of the guide and it's the property of the what to tell the institution. That is not the case, right? They have paid fees and they have done the degree. So I strictly go by the copyright form and the contributing authors, corresponding author, basically. I'll correspond with that particular thing. And if I feel there is, some this, officially I'll ask them to send. Recently also we came to know there were somebody like a ghost author who had not done any work, wanted the corresponding author.
Gift authorship also, no?
Huh?
It's a gift authorship also.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So, and since people personally, if they know me, they will make sure I'm contacted and the message is passed. And I'll make sure that is not given. At least in all fairness, I do this, but you can't help sometimes.
Absolutely. And there's
But
another question about
of late, I don't think there is. Previously, the guide.
Ma'am, I think, ma'am, you have to say no once, and it spreads like a wildfire. Then no, it stops. Actually, these things have just one no
if
stops.
you want to sit in that position,
you have
that
to
person should be able to maintain that once for all.
Absolutely. There's another question about the predatory journal itself. That if the journal is having ISSN number but not being indexed in Scopus or PubMed, is it still
ISSN number is just
you can just pay and you can get it. You can get that. Yeah, that's it. Ma'am, actually, these problems are, I think, worldwide, globally the same, and we have today people from Argentina and Philippines, and Dr. Zaira Hara. I hope I'm spelling it correctly. He's a pediatrician from Philippines, and he wants to ask you a question. That how do they organize and delegate themselves if they are 38 authors and they want to make a journal out of those 38 articles? They have all written these articles. So is there a way that they can delegate the responsibilities and organize a journal for themselves? They are basically, I think, a group of 38 pediatricians
I believe.
Yeah. So they want to start their own journal and they have 38 articles. So can they formally, organize themselves?
So they can, they can request a publishing house to help them with that. If there is a, pediatrics, if they are into that, one particular issue only can be brought out for that article. They don't have to start a journal for that. Like, for example, I recently I got from Iran and Soviet Union. They have done only oral cancer related work. So they were requesting for that to be published. So that can go as a supplementary or an online issue from the publishing house. They have to look for a reputed journal instead of starting their own. If they want to start it, it should not be a one-off kind of situation. It should have a long-term right? I discussed all that in this presentation. If they have any particular things, they can mail me and I will clarify what
Dr.
exactly they want.
Zahra, if he has any other query regarding it, I think supplementary issue would be a good option for them, as you said, and it's more specific for a specific topic also.
Yes, and already it will be maintained by the publishing house as well as the journal itself. So they'll be getting wide coverage also. If you start, you should index it, and the publicity will not be there.
Yeah. There's this student, I think, I'm not sure that this is a student or not, but his questions seem like, because he's been trying to publish his article, I think, in 2 or 3 journals, but they're charging too much. And so he's saying that should he go for a journal with an ISSN number only? But I think as ma'am has specified that only ISSN number does not suffice. So I think publishing in predatory journal is going to be a black spot rather than, you can wait and you can increase the weight of your article and then submit it to a reputed journal. I think that would be
Uh,
better.
there are many journals which are not charging, and there are many good journals, international journals. They are not charging. You have to search for that, but in that case, the quality of the papers, of
Quality,
course, should be very good. But if your article is good, you can always find a journal. In my life, I have published 130 articles, but I have never gone for any journal which is taking publication charges. So you can always find the journals which does not charge.
I think our questions are, they keep on increasing, but our time does not. So I'm really, really thankful to Dr. Smita. This was a wonderful session, and everybody's been complimenting you, ma'am. If you see the chat, your compliments are huge.
There is one question. If
yes, absolutely,
yeah, please, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
So everything has been covered in a very good manner, and congratulations to the speaker for that. But what are your views about the open review and the blind review process? Probably that has not been covered. Blind review.
Yes, I have not covered that. See, actually, open review. Yes, if there is a credibility to that particular this, and if there is not bias, then it's fine. But I strictly follow the blind review protocol.
Yeah,
that is the best.
Totally unbiased.
Yes, totally unbiased.
Do you use a double?
Double blind?
Do you use
yes,
double blind process? Okay, thank you.
Double blind, yes. Yes, so that's why it takes more time. I think Dr. Aman will be knowing about others. And especially, I told you, usually we used to get around 350 articles per year. And this time, due to COVID, everybody have worked and they want to publish. So just 360 number has on last week I checked. So I'm also thinking of coming out with again original online issue supplementary for the original research work and case reports also. We already have case reports supplementary issue. Why I don't tend to put more case reports in our continuous means original articles carry a lot of weightage. So reviews, if it is not a meta-analysis, definitely it doesn't suffice to the improving the journal quality. So invited review from a senior person who has done quality work will always be, has got wide access and it will be cited also. So that improves the quality or the impact factor for the journal. That we are working very hard now.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Okay, I would like to pass the screen to Dr. Deepika for a formal vote of thanks so that we can keep this session off, this wonderful session which is taken. Yeah.
Yeah, it is indeed a privilege for me to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the team IPL for this successful conduction of the 11th free lecture today. At the outset, I would like to thank and congratulate Dr. Smita for a wonderful session. Ma'am, the insights that you gave us into the scientific journal work of the workings, how actually things work was really useful. I'm sure it's going to benefit all of us, and we're going to seriously think about your suggestion of, starting our own journal. Yeah. I'd like to thank Professor Goria for helping us to conduct these lectures under the aegis of the Indo-Pacific Academy of Forensic Odontology. So I always say, you're the first to come and last to go, and that means a lot to us. Our appreciation to Dr. Emilio for partnership with the Association of Forensic Odontology for Human Rights. Heartfelt appreciation to Professor Jasuja and Professor Grover for the support of IACFI. And last, but definitely the most important, I would like to extend our thank you to the whole IPL family. All the old and new members. It is your enthusiasm for these lectures which motivates us, and it has helped us to organize, these interactive sessions one after the other. And, that's what keeps us going. Thank you all. it was a great session today, and thank you all for participating.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank